Hey guys, Nighthawk here, and welcome back to our build series for our Megaman X platformer. In the previous episode, we went ahead and started adding animations to, or basic animations to our player. As you can see, he is starting to run around, he can idle, and we can also jump pretty efficiently without like having a loophole in our animations here. So now, what I want to work on is getting the wall jump in next. It's a little bit tricky because out of all the builds that I did, wall jumping was one of the hardest thing to do without getting stuck into the wall. But I think I might have come up with a solution in one of my Super Nintendo Entertainment System X X builds. There we go. So real quick, I'm just going to load up some reference code that can help me aid in this build series. And again, I don't know if you really want to consider this a tutorial, but I mean, you are more than welcome to follow along with what I'm doing since I'm moving at a slow pace. I'm pretty sure you can easily copy and paste, pause the video whenever you need to. And if you're in Gamemaker Studio 2, I'm not sure if the coding is similar to what I'm doing here, but you can always apply similar applications depending on what languages you guys are using in GMS2. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started here with our wall jump if I can. Alright, so we're going to go back into our platformer coding. Shaun Spalding did actually introduce a simple wall jumping mechanic, but I mean, it was up to me to define like how you can do a little bit of a kick off the wall, and then yeah. So we have a block here for our wall jump. So I'm basically going to be implementing the code from his video, like I said, many times. If you're wondering where I'm getting most of this code from, I would initially recommend you to go to Shaun Spalding's platformer tutorial videos. It helps define a basis for your game, and then you can just branch out from there. Okay, so first of all we're gonna check to see if we're not touching the ground. So if we're not place meeting x, y plus 1 CTRL floor, which is our master or our parent for all of our collision objects here, just do that. And if that's the case, we'll then check to see if we're touching a wall. So if we are place meeting x minus 1, so 1 pixel to the left, y CTRL floor, or place meeting x plus 1 y CTRL floor. I'm going to set the vertical speed to be 0.8 so the player can just slowly go down the wall without gravity applying to it, so he's kind of grinding up against the wall. You can always adjust that value to fit with you. And then I'm going to set wall jump to be equal to true, and then wall jump timer to be equal to 0. Basically, this will be for like checking our animations later, and then our wall jump timer is kind of just resetting itself. So, and then if we still meet these conditions, we're going to execute our wall jump. So if we hit key jump, which is basically pressing the spacebar, we're going to set our wall jump timer to be a small value. I think, if I remember correctly, I'm going to start with 10. I'll adjust this value here later. We're going to set our vertical speed then to be our negative jump speed divided by 1.2, and then wall jump to be equal to false. This is because we're no longer jumping on the wall jumping anymore. Might help to add like the wall, like make sure we're not wall jumping here too, but actually then you won't be able to like this that won't be true. Okay, never mind. Okay, so that's already good to go. I'm not gonna run the game just yet because we need to now introduce a timer controller piece of code here. Timer. So I'm going to call it timer decrement, hopefully I spelled that correctly, controllers. Basically, these will act similarly to like our alarm system, but I mean, I don't want to consistently add all 11 of these, all 12 of these alarms. It just doesn't make any sense when you can just basically say like, hey, if a certain timer is greater than 0, we decrement by 1 until that condition is no longer true, or when it basically hits 0. So for our wall jump timer here, I'll go ahead and add the other timers really quick just to show you what I mean. So shoot timer, if shoot timer is greater than 0, shoot timer minus minus, else shoot timer is equal to 0. Flash timer, if flash timer is greater than 0, flash timer minus minus, else flash timer is equal to 0. Wall jump timer, wall jump timer. Okay. So this is where the fun begins. Really quick here, I'm going to explain just for like these two timers. If it's obviously greater than 0, we are going to minus our we will subtract our current value of the shoot timer by 1. This is basically what the minus minus does. You can alternatively do minus equal to 1, and it does the same thing, but minus minus is just nicer. So, all right. So if our differently, if our wall jump timer is greater than 0. We can't just decrement it, because with our wall jump timer, this is what will help us jump like off our wall, like and do a little bit of a kick, if that makes any sense, kind of like in the Megaman X series. And then we'll really quick down here at the bottom, else wall jump timer is equal to 0, wall jump is equal to false. I used the wrong. My bad. Okay, so in here, looks like according to my reference coding here, I declared a local variable m, where we just set m equal to 0. And then I'm going to make a comment here called mid-air kick. So if we're not place meeting x plus m, y, so currently it's 0, CTRL floor. If that condition is true, we are going to set m to be equal to our negative image x scale times 2.8, which is like a certain, so our image x scale depends on like which way we are facing. If we're facing to the right, that means m will be equal to negative 1, because when by default your image x scale is 1. So when it's negative 1, it would be times 2.8. So it'll be looking for pixels to the left, so pixels opposite of the direction you are facing. And then we will have x plus equal to m. And then since m has been updated, we'll keep checking to see if we're not place meeting with x plus this here. All right. Now this is where we can cancel our wall jump if we decide to like move the other way. If either our image x scale is equal to -1 and key right, or our image x scale is equal to 1 and key left. So what I'm doing here is saying if we're facing to the left and we hit the right key to face to the right, or oppositely, or vice versa, if we face to the right and we hit the left key, we are going to cancel our wall jump by saying m is equal to 0, wall jump timer is equal to 0, and wall jump is equal to false, thus ending our wall jump. And then after all that's done, we just say wall jump timer minus, so we can decrement every frame. So if our wall jump timer was set to 10, we will have 10 pixels to jump to the left, so on and so forth. With that out of the way, let's see if we can run the game and see if we can see a wall jump happening here. I'm going to run up to this wall here. There we go. Obviously, we need to set a wall jumping index, but we can get up to this room, this part of the room now. And similarly, we can come up to here and then just wall jump here. So, but the only problem we have right now is I have no keys on the walls and wall jumping here. And if I were to hit space, it does that, of course. We want to basically put in some code that kind of mimics this kind of effect, but obviously not knock us back that far. So that way, if we were to let go, we would just stop wall jumping. So in other words, we need to be holding down the left key to keep wall jumping. Otherwise, if we let go, it's just going to bounce us off, kind of like, just like that. So that's where we need to put in some of our animation codes to work. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the check index so we can define another case for when we're wall jumping. So case wall jump, and don't forget your breaks. Those are important, otherwise it's going to keep running through these until it finds a break. So if sprite index is equal to wall jump sprite, or sprite index wall jump shoot sprite, or sprite index is equal to wall jump flash sprite. Return 1. So yeah, similarly with all of these here, if our sprite index is equal to any of these sprites here that we have defined in our sprite files player, or our sprite files here, then we will return 1 and then continue with our true conditions inside that check. And then similarly for animate player, we need to make a new case for that as well. If flash timer Alright. Let's do that, and actually let me make sure, because I think I camel cased. Yep, I did. Alright. And let me triple check here, because I'm pretty sure in our sprite files we do not have wall jump camel case. No, we do not here. Okay. So in here, I'm going to also now define, or I'm also going to make the player animate here. So let's see, if check index jump animate player wall jump. Just do that. And then also have an update controller here for wall jumping, because we don't want the animation to loop. So we need to find out what that is just by looking at one of our wall cleans here. 6 or 7 could work for us, so I'm just going to say 6. Okay. And then back in our platformer coding here, when we execute our wall jump, we're going to animate our player with our image index set that to 8. There's a little jumping animation for when the player wall jumps, but it's not worth the investment to like code that in when you can just use a similar jumping animation that's already predefined here. And then animate layer jump, and that should work there. One more thing we need to do is our animation handling controllers here with this placeholder comment I made about wall jumping. So if we're checking the index of wall jump, so when our sprite index is equal to any of our wall jumps sprites that we are checking in this case, if it's basically to like I said to help us jump off the wall here. So if move is equal to 0 and we are not place meeting x minus image x scale. So if we're not place meeting with, say if we're facing to the right and we're not place meeting 1 pixel to the left opposite of the way we are facing, y CTRL floor. We're going to set our image index to be equal to, did I say 6? I'm pretty sure I said 6. Well, actually, since we'll be kind of falling, instead we can set our image index to 18. We will then animate our player to jump, and we'll set wall jump to be equal to false. And then to help with the knockback, or like just jumping off the wall, we'll quickly set our wall jump timer to be very short of 3. You want a really small number, because otherwise if you have a bigger number, you'll be emulating a wall jump without hitting the spacebar, basically. So similarly, if we're not place meeting x plus image x scale, so 1 or minus 1, y CTRL floor, we'll again set our image index to be 18. We'll animate the player to jump, and then our wall jump will be set to false. So now if I run this, let's see what happens. Did I get everything incorrectly based off of memory? We'll test this wall here behind me. Well, first of all, it's setting the wrong index there. It's not animating correctly. Oh, that's why, because I forgot my break statement again. I'll bet you it's gonna work this time. Yep, there we go. Hey, there we go. We can jump off, and then it'll cancel our wall jump timer, basically. It looks like here our animation, or our players dug in too deep into the wall here. We need to adjust our centering on the animation itself to make it more sense. But also, as you just saw there too, when I let go of the A key here, when I'm facing to the left, I jump off, and then we can continue on our way, and then just go from there. Jump out of there. We need to define when we're also really quick when we're falling off a ledge there, because if you just saw there, our player just kind of has that run statement until maybe we hit the ground or something. So let's go ahead and fix those two things really quick. Make a little sarcastic comment here. Did we run off a ledge? So if check index run, image index will be equal to 8, or let's say 16 this time, and then we will animate the player of jumping. Run the game and let's see what happens. There we go. So yeah, something like that. And then we can continue our wall jumping state there. Of course, I could get on top of the stage, no problem. Yeah, cool. So that works just fine, no problems whatsoever. I had some problems with the player getting stuck in the ground for some reason when I would do what I just coded there, but it doesn't seem to be a problem here, interestingly enough. So we need to, unfortunately, adjust some of these sprite indexes. It looks like we can set this to be 32, or move the center like towards there so the player sticks further out from the wall. We need to. It's just one of the things you need to like fine tune. So if you want to like how to fine tune your animations, you just change the centering of the sprite, and that should help it. That's a bit better. I think we can go out a couple more pixels. So set that to be 34 instead and run the game again. Yeah, okay. That's a lot better. That is a lot better. So I think I need to go ahead and apply those really quick to my other ones here. Or, ooh, okay, looks like they might already be applied, but we can like maybe work with these later here. Okay, but I think that is a good place to stop this video here, because now we've just got the basis of just running around and whatsoever. So I think what I want to work on in the future videos is maybe getting a pea shooter or working next. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. I have been Nighthawk, and I will see you guys later.